welcome to the show. I'm Solo and I'm back with a hot topic: memory, brain power, cognitive decline. How do you nurture the most important organ you have in your body, the one that runs everything? Let's dive in, shall we? How memory boosters can help combat cognitive decline naturally. I'm going to give you my top 7 cognitive boosters that you can be doing on a daily basis if you're over the age of 40 and you are concerned with the Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, and cognitive decline that exists in your lineage, that exists in your family tree. How can you start feeding the most important organ you have, the one that controls everything in your body, protect it so you can be a thinker for a lifetime, not just a short time? It starts now, my friends. I don't care if you're 32 or you're 62. We need to pay attention to that most important organ. You need it. You need it. It does so much for us. So my top 7. Number 7, did you know that Alzheimer's and dementia is referred to as type 3 diabetes? Type 3. What's that mean? Insulin resistance causes your brain to be damaged and creates cognitive decline. But it's a slow burn. If you are eating the wrong types of macros, types of sugar, types of carbohydrates for a 40-year period of time, you are almost guaranteed to decrease the function of your brain because it eats so much glucose, so much sugar. But if you're feeding it bad types of that carbohydrate, of that processed food, of that processed sugar, it can lead to more cognitive decline. So here's the research for you, all right? It shows that a sugar-laden diet can lead to poor memory and reduced brain volume. See, it's not your husband's fault. It's the sugar he's eating. That is his fault. But that's why his brain is getting smaller. I don't want to make light of it. But particularly in the area of the brain that stores short-term memory, the sugar affects it the most, okay? So for example, one study showed that 4,000 people found that those with a higher intake of just sugary beverages, just that soda, just that sweet tea, just that sugar inside your coffee, had lower total brain volumes and poor memories on average compared to people who consumed less sugar. The most important step you can take long-term for your brain health is eating less sugar, especially processed carbohydrates, okay? It's huge. Having obesity can actually cause changes to memory-associated genes in your brain and negatively affect memory. So even if it's in your genetics, like Grandma Hogan, my grandma, or my grandma living good right now having some cognitive decline. My grandma Hogan had Alzheimer's dementia. It's in the lineage, but this study literally shows obesity is the trigger. So the loaded gun is the DNA. You might have this in your family. The gun doesn't go off unless you pull the trigger. What pulls the trigger? This study is showing you obesity. What does obesity come from? Insulin resistance. What does insulin resistance come from? Overeating too often and eating too many carbohydrates and sugars, especially processed ones, especially fructose, high fructose corn syrup. It can also, the obesity leads to insulin resistance, which creates inflammation in the body, bogs down the liver, talked about this a lot. Both can negatively affect and impact the brain. It creates a fire for your brain. So stop giving it gasoline. Your brain needs a lot of glucose. That's how you cannot move all day at a desk, 9 hours of work straight through just on your computer and be exhausted because your brain's just soaking up so much sugar. Right? But it's oftentimes why we reach for energy drinks, why we reach for the sugary beverage to try to quickly fuel that brain when really we want to get more efficient at processing sugars and carbohydrates inside of our body. My book and our challenges do exactly this. Rotational fasting is one of the best ways you can fight it, but there are ways to still enjoy so many good foods and eat whatever you want to eat as long as you learn how to make them healthy with way less sugar. You can use some sugar alternatives, for example. Number 6, probably even more important than the sugar, I dare say, fats. Rancid oils. Your brain is 60% fat. Where does the fat come from? What type of fat are you putting in your body to build your brain? Does this make sense? If that's the number one most prominent material inside of your brain, like you've seen a brain, kind of the purple like mass, and it's like real squishy, that's fat. It's so much fat in those nerve endings. So what type of fat is being used to rebuild your brain? Because you're making new cells all the time. You're making new synapses. You're making new connections. You're making new memories. You're making new experiences in your brain. It needs fat to build all that. If you're feeding it vegetable oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, plant seed oils, that's what it's going to be made up of. Why is that a problem? Those are rancid. Those are malstructured. Those are going to congest your cell, which is going to inflame your brain. So we want healthy fats. You know what interesting? The top two, you know what the best one is? A walnut. Now think about this. The way God shaped it, what does a walnut look like? Your brain. So now you know you can associate that with brain food. Now you may only get a few of those, right? Make sure you don't roast them. You could put a little sea salt on them if you wanted to, but I just like them straight up. I used to get them in holiday time with my grandpa. We'd crack them open, right? And pick them out ourselves. But walnuts, very good, as well as fish oils. EPA and DHA are extremely important for children all the way to adults on developing the brain and maintaining the brain. They're the top two oils that do this. That's why it's very important in a liquid form. We give our kids EPA and DHA fish oil. It's sweetened with monk fruit, so they enjoy it still. They love it. We give them a little teaspoon of it. We have liquid omegas that we give to give high doses of EPA and DHA for their brain development. When we're adult, we need the same thing. In fact, we need more. So I double it. I take 1,500 milligrams of EPA and DHA, omega-3 fish oils on a daily basis to fight this off. And overall health, they've been shown to lower the risk of heart disease, lower the risk of inflammation, especially in the brain. They help to relieve stress and anxiety that burns and grinds the gears of your brain, and it slows down mental decline. That's what the research shows. So many studies have shown that consuming fish and fish oil supplements help improve memory, especially in older people. So there's hope. In a 2015 review of 28 studies, it showed that when adults with mild symptoms of memory loss took supplements that are rich in DHA and EPA, like fish oil, they experienced improved episodic memory. So get those omegas in. I put a link for one below that I use it as concentrated EPA and DHA. Number 5, sleep. Sleep. It's when you shut the system down and the coils cool off from the brain and it allows it to recover. And in fact, at nighttime, what happens is there's a pump from the base of your skull down to your tail, and there's fluid all around your spinal cord and up around the brain, okay? And at night, that recycles. So it drains that fluid and puts fresh fluid. Your brain is bathed in a cerebral fluid. The health of that pond water, the cleanliness of that helps your brain replenish. And so movement, which we'll talk about in a bit, helps that. But at nighttime, your brain is flushing that through that system, okay? So that's why when I sleep, I like to sleep on a spinal molding roll that puts a curve in my neck at a perfect 42 degrees because you make that perfect arch for that fluid to flow freely. And I put a 35-degree one under my low back. So I'm putting the normal needed arches back into the spine because a lot of times during the day I'm sitting or driving and I'm taking those out because of bad posture. At nighttime, I can put those back in to optimize brain function, right? A study also found that nurses, check this out, this is crazy, Nurse Living Good, right? Working the night shift, which she used to do when we were dating, okay? They make more mathematical errors, and 68% of them scored lower on memory tests compared with nurses working the day shift. Why does that matter to you? It's a perfect example of a swing shift worker lacking sleep, lacking rhythm, because you're 3 days or 4 days you're working night shifts. Then the other days you're trying to sleep normally. Their memory was less and they scored way lower on those 68% more errors. What's that mean? Your brain needs sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night. You can go through my whole sleep training. I have a sleep video. I'll put a link to that below to help optimize it. There's also nutrients that you can be using to optimize your sleep. You can check those out. I can put a link to that below, but we need rest. Number 4, vitamin D. Vitamin D, one of the top nutrients you can take. Study followed 318 older adults for 5 years, and they found that those who had blood levels of vitamin D less than 20 lost their memory and other cognitive abilities faster than those with normal vitamin D3. Literally, prevention of memory decline. One factor you could look at to improve is getting your D3 levels above 50, ideally to 70 or 80. That's it. How do you do it? Take extra and get more sunlight. So D3, taken with vitamin K2, magnesium, and zinc, and the fat-soluble vitamins with a little bit of fat and some probiotics, it's my vitamin D plus immune complex. That will help to balance everything out, but it helps prevent cognitive decline. Get your D3 levels up, measure it the next time you have a blood test. Low levels of vitamin D have also been linked to greater risk of dementia. So to prevent that, less sugar, more D3. Number 3, curcumin. Curcumin. Studies have found that curcumin reduces oxidative damage and inflammation in the brain. This is a cooler offer of the brain. It also lowers a quantity of amyloid plaques. Amyloid plaques are the ones that are heavily impactful in Alzheimer's. So these accumulate on the neurons, and then they cause the cells and the tissues of the brain to die. So we don't want those plaques building up because that's what leads to memory loss. The thing that helps prevent that is curcumin found in Turmeric. Amyloid plaque buildup plays a huge progressive role in Alzheimer's disease. You can prevent it by taking turmeric on a daily basis. I combine it with my omega-3s. The EPA, the DHA, and the turmeric are 3 incredible brain foods. I combine them into one. Emulsified turmeric. There it is again. Healthy fats will deliver the turmeric to the brain better, 40 times more absorbable than regular powdered turmeric. So I take emulsified forms of turmeric. It's the kind that I use regularly to get that into the body. Number 2, move. Move. Physical exercise has the best evidence at preserving memory and mental aging, the function of your brain as you get older. So moving your body is super important. So we want to stimulate blood flow. That could be cardio, that could be walking, that could be biking. I love high intensity exercise with some resistance training because you're building muscle. You're building this muscle a little bit too. That blood flow carries oxygen and nutrients to the brain. When we are stagnant and sedentary, that's when memory declines. So to stir up the fluid of the body, get yourself moving. Try a 10-minute workout if you want to try one on my channel. And then don't forget to try, there's also brain activity too, right? There's physically moving, but what about a brain activity? Like maybe you play a game at nighttime before bed. That's what I do. I do. I'm not gonna tell you which one, but I literally play a little game before bed. Stimulates my brain a little bit. It actually is a signal to my brain. I kind of relax, right? Stressful day, going all the time. Dr. Levin, could you ever slow down? Yeah, just play a little game before bed. A little teaser, keeps the brain sharp, keeps me thinking. You could try one of those, right? Stimulate your brain. Do something hard. Calculate something. Work with some numbers. Play a game. Challenge your brain. Do some kind of brain puzzle teaser. Keep that thing active and thinking and working. That's what I like, tell my mom right now, work as long as you possibly can. Because as soon as you start to let that go and you're not thinking and have to calculate and solve problems, you're opening the doors for decline potentially. So keep your brain active. If you're retired, just get yourself involved in something. But mental activity and physical activity, super important. Number 1, my favorite brain memory supporter, coffee. Of course. I'm a huge coffee lover. But check out this research. 2017, Book Van Gelder and her colleagues reported on 676 elderly men that they had studied, forget this, 10 years. So they followed men for 10 years, right? Not to exclude women, to see if coffee protected them from cognitive memory decline. Study says they found that men who drank coffee had less cognitive decline than those that didn't. And I'm like, that is so enjoyable for me. In fact, I'm going to show you how to make it more brain friendly, but I can do that. The greatest effect was seen in those that drank 3 cups of coffee a day. If you drank more, no additional benefit. If you drank less, you didn't get as many of the benefits, okay? And those that drank more or less saw less dramatic effects, okay? So those keys help the brain. The coffee, right, can support the brain by caffeine increasing the serotonin, your happy hormone levels, acetylcholine, which helps stimulates a neurotransmitter, stimulates the brain, helps to stabilize that blood-brain barrier. There's that fluid again around your brain. It's getting nutrients into the blood flow and nourishing the brain. This helps that blood-brain barrier. It's high in polyphenols as long as it's organic. The one I make is organic. That way it has the micronutrients in the coffee that help prevent tissue damage by helping reduce free radicals. Now with my coffee, I also add in moringa. So coffee plus moringa. Moringa is one of the best antioxidants there is. And so that helps brain blood vessel blockage. It reduces that free radical damage that could prevent strokes, things that can cause damage to the areas of the brain. And then there's high concentrations of trigonelline found in coffee beans, which can also activate other antioxidants and protect the blood-brain barrier and the blood vessels of the brain. You add in that extra moringa, you get that extra kick of antioxidants, you got healthy coffee. So I love coffee for that case. There is 7 things clinically proven that you can do to boost your memory. It's a slow burn. You don't want memory health for a short time, you want it for a long time. Add some of these things into your regimen. Get them into your lifestyle. Your brain will thank you down the road when you still got your wits about you into your 70s, 80s, 90s. But you got to protect it now to have it then. The damage now is what's causing problems then. So take some action steps today. And if you want to know some more incredible health benefits of coffee, well, I think you should add organic coffee and mine organic with moringa to your daily regimen. Check out this video next.